Welcome to Introduction to Geographic Information Systems. This, and the other learning resources in this course have been made possible by funding from the European Commission's Erasmus Plus program. You will usually find that you have more data than you need. For example, in our illustration case of Nafplion, we only want to investigate the small area around the historic core of the city. But we have data covering well beyond that. If you are going to undertake any sort of analysis, you usually want to ensure no outside factors are influencing the results. So you will need to crop your data, or as it is called in GIS, clip your data. The first step in this process is to define your project area with a shapefile. To do that, we will need to create your very first vector layer from scratch. Go to your top toolbar and click the New Shapefile icon. This will bring up a creation menu. Click the three dots icon to set the location where you want to save the layer to. Also name it. I'm going to call it Clip Layer. You also need to choose what sort of vector it will be. In this case, we want it to be a polygon. You can leave the rest of the settings as is. Click OK. It should now appear as a layer in your Layers panel. It has no features yet, so let's create some. Go to the top toolbar and click the Toggle Editing icon. If you remember back to the earlier videos, we had added the Shape Digitizing toolbar. That should no longer be grayed out. Now click the Add Rectangle by Extent icon. You have several choices for adding a rectangle, but I prefer adding by extent. You can also see from the other icons you could choose other shapes. A rectangle is easy and works for this example, but you could make an irregularly shaped polygon if you need it. Find where you want to start your rectangle. We want to capture mainly the old town part of Nafplion. Left click to start and move your mouse to increase the size of the rectangle. When you are ready to set it, right click. This will bring up a menu to set an ID. It should be a unique ID, but given we are only going to create one shape, it does not really matter. Hit OK. Now your feature is set within the layer. But what if you make a mistake? Open up the attributes table for that layer. Select that feature. It should change color in the screen when you select it. How? Click the trash can icon to delete it. Just repeat the steps you just did to add another feature. Once you're happy with your project area, then toggle off the editing tool and save changes. You are now ready to start clipping your layers. Go to the top toolbar and select the Vector menu. Then Geoprocessing Tools and then Clip. The Clip menu should show up. You only need to select the layer you want to clip and the clipping layer. First, let's clip the points. You can also specify if you want to save the resulting layer. Because we don't know what it will look like, let's just keep the default option of a temporary layer. Click Run. You will see there is a new layer clip. Toggle off the other points to see that only the points in your clipped area are there. Now, because this is a temporary layer and we are happy with it, we can save it. Right click on the layer and select Export and then Save Feature As. We want to save it as a shapefile, as that is pretty standard file format in GIS, though any other vector format would do. Select your modified data folder and save it there. Now repeat this process for the lines. I am going to fast forward me doing this, as you do not need to see this again. However, when we get to the polygons, we will run into a problem. Go through the process, but when you hit run, you will find that there is an error. This can happen often, and we need to figure out what is wrong with the data. Let's find out what those are. Click the Vector menu, but this time go to the Geometry Tools. Select Check Validity. It will bring up a validation panel. Select the layer you want to check, which is the polygons. Run it. You should see 3 new layers. Check the attributes table of the errors layer, and it should bring up a list of the errors. You may need to move the layers around, but if you bring the invalid output to the top, you can see which polygons are causing the problems. Let's try to fix them. Right click on the toolbar and then go to Panels and click Processing Toolbox Panel. This should show up in the right hand side of the screen. Choose Vector Geometry and scroll down and click Fix Geometries. Select the layer we need to fix and leave the default output as a temporary layer, as we don't know what it will look like. You can now see that some have been fixed but some have just been removed. Given that those removed are outside of the area we are interested in, we can just keep going. If you ever run into this problem and do need to solve it, then you will have to edit each feature, which is for another video. Save the fixed layer. Now go through the process of clipping the fixed version. The last layer we need to clip is the raster layer. For that, go to the Raster menu tab and select Extraction. Then select Clip Raster by Mask. Like clipping vectors, you need to select the layer to be clipped and the clipping layer. Then select Run. That is it, you have now clipped all your datasets. To finish it off, remove the layers that are not clipped to tidy up your layers panel. Right-click on them and click Remove Layer. Confirm the removal of it from the legend as well. Remove everything but the clipped layers. Congratulations, you now have a project area to work with. Don't forget to save your work.